You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host, who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong. Author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. Today with me I have Nicole, and I'm going to let Miss Nicole take it away and share her story.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show, Wynn. It's funny that you called me Nicole. My name is Noelle, but I still answer to Nicole because even my family members call me Nicole sometimes.
Oh, boy. There we go. Noelle, I apologize.
Don't feel bad at all. Don't feel bad at all. Well, I'm so happy to be talking to you. I want to tell you a little bit about what I do because most people don't understand what I do, which is I am a female friendship researcher. And that's not something that I've always done. I started researching female friendship about 4 years ago. And the reason was I had just come home from living overseas in Northern Ireland. I lived there for several years with my family, and I came back to the States thinking I was going to kind of return to all my old friendships, and it just really wasn't the case. Many of my friends had either moved on or moved away from where I had moved to, and I found myself really lonely. I was in my mid-30s, and I'm like, how in the world do you make friends all over again? And I just didn't know what to do. And I remember one day in particular, I was in my home getting ready to go meet up with an old friend. And just as I'm about to leave, I get a text message from this old friend saying that she's not going to be able to make it. And this wasn't really a huge deal, but because I'd been so lonely and couldn't really find like my people where we had just moved to, I was heartbroken. I started to cry and I just felt really awful. I remember my husband walked in and he was like, "What happened? Why are you crying?" And I just told him, I don't have any friends. And it was that moment that I started to literally just, use the power of Google and research how do you make friends when you're in your 30s. And it was from that little spark that I began to do more and more research and just found myself super fascinated with this topic of friendship. And I realized that there are many, many lonely women out there who think there's something wrong with them because it can feel very hard to have really good friends. And a lot of us grew up watching TV shows like the TV show Friends, Sex and the City, all those TV shows that show these really tight friendships that just seem like they happen. But what I learned from my research is that friendship is actually quite intentional. You have to put the work in to make it happen. So that's what I do. And I research female friendship, and I have a podcast show called Friending where we talk all about this. And I speak at universities and women's events and schools talking about how women can cultivate healthy female friendship because it's so important for them.
Yes. And me as a disabled woman myself, I tend to cultivate friendships so easily that it's not even funny. I mean, I have taught so many people about cerebral palsy that it's not even funny. I have friends that are counselors. I have friends that do multi-level marketing. I have friends that do that are my aides. I become friends with my aides. I have friends all over the place, and you are now one of my friends too. So, because of my podcast and because of me being so authentic, I just make friends easily.
Well, that's awesome. I think that you said something really important, and that is you're authentic. And I think that is definitely the secret to being able to make friends and maintain them, is being as real as you possibly can be.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Nicole, um, Noelle, I keep calling you Nicole for some good reason. Noelle,
It's okay.
what is your favorite book and what is the title?
My favorite book is called What the Night Sings by Vesper Stamper. It is a YA fiction, and it is a love story that happened post Holocaust in Germany. And I love this book because I got to be a part of the research trip for this book with my very good friend Vesper Stamper. So that will always be my most favorite book because I got to be a part of helping her put it together.
And so it's a YA novel, and I presume people can go find it on Amazon.
Yeah, it's called What the Night Sings by Vesper Stamper, and it's unique because it is illustrated. There's some really beautiful artwork in there, and that, not all YA novels have that. So it's definitely a unique story, and it's really beautiful. I love it, and I'm so proud of my friend for writing it.
And so you guys go check out What the Night Sings on Amazon and go, go, shoo, 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 what you can do this. Shoo. And so, yeah, because this will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, but still, it's still in the time of the coronavirus and everyone's looking for a good book.
Yes, and this is a good one.
So, Nicole, if your BFF had Noelle, if your BFF had to write a book about you, Noelle, what would the title be?
This is a good question. I was thinking about this. I think the title will be She Was a Little Weird, but We Liked Her Anyways.
Yep. And so, what is your morning routine?
My morning routine is I get up in the morning. I try to get up on the early side. I make myself a cup of coffee, and I do something called morning pages. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a technique that sort of artists use to just kind of get everything that's been stuck in their head out. And I sit down for probably about 25 minutes and just journal whatever's like on my mind. And after I hit about 3 pages, I kind of get up and I do a lot of my actual podcasting work early in the morning, especially right now because all of my family's stuck with me in the house. So that's like the quietest part of the day to do any editing or recording is really, really early. So I kind of just get stuck in and do some work. And then when everybody wakes up, I enjoy making everybody breakfast and then kind of just get on with the day. Not too much, but that morning pages is an exercise I've been doing for a little bit now, and I find it to be really, really helpful.
And so, yes, I have heard about morning pages, and I am not surprised that you do it. Um, and so, for those who are looking for female friendships, really, really good female friendships, and for those who are stuck in their corona bubble, and for those of us who are looking for solid female friendships, how would you recommend? Where do they start?
Well, right now, with everyone kind of being stuck in their living quarters, whether it's their house or apartment, it's tough to kind of go out and meet people. But I think there's so many great opportunities to make friends online. So whatever you're interested in, you can pretty much find an online community that's supporting that. Like for instance, we connected over a Facebook group that was for podcasters. I even run a Facebook group for women who are looking for female friends. So there's so many great opportunities online just to connect with people who are interested in the same thing as you are, and that's a great place to start, especially right now when you really can't go out and meet people.
Well, you're going to have to add me to your Facebook group because I
Yeah.
am so into meeting people, and I needed right now to support my company. Yes, I switched multi-level marketing companies on you guys. I'm no longer working for Aubon. I'm now working for Lime Life by Alcon, and it's a
Okay.
beauty company. And so, if you guys want to check out my website, you're more than welcome to it, and I'll stick it in the show notes. But um, women are it's a women-centered company. Very few guys on there, and so that's a great way to make friendships too. Is do multi-level marketing, even though there's a stigma behind multi-level marketing. I've made some great friends um, with multi-level marketing, and because it's really hard to make friends as an adult.
Yeah, it is, and I would agree with you. The multi-level marketing is a great way for women to make friends. If you're in that, it's almost hard not to make friends because it tends to be a very supportive community.
Yeah, well, there you go, you guys. And now, Noelle, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I have a question for you. I was thinking about this. With everything that you've gone through in your life and all of your accomplishments, what would you say to your 11-year-old self about friendships? Like, what would be the advice that you would give your 11-year-old self?
Okay, my 11-year-old self. Well, my 11-year-old self, I would say just be authentic. At 11 years old, I didn't even know I had a disability.
Hmm.
I didn't even know until I was in seventh grade that I had a disability. Then I started doing research on my own, and then it just blossoms from there. It turns out in 2020, I found out that I had a neurological disability, so aka cerebral palsy. So I would tell my 11-year-old self, be authentic, ask questions, just be yourself.
That's awesome. That's very good advice.
Yeah. So, do you have any more questions for me?
Yeah, I have you ever had a friend, a specific friend that has supported you in your dreams?
Yes. Yes. Right now, yes, I'm going through that right now. Um, my I have a lot of silent cheerleaders right
Mm,
now who are not coming out of the woodwork, but they are supporting me, and they are they know that I have CP. They know that I'm going back to school too, and so yeah.
that's awesome. Do you feel like the support that you've had from friends has made a difference in being able to accomplish your goals and dreams?
Um, yes and no. Yes and no. I am such a motivated person. I could do I could do a motivational speech on being motivated, but when I have those tough days, I do reach out to those friends. I say, "Hey, I'm having a tough day. Help me out there," and it may take 24 hours, um, but all in all, it had all in all it has been wonderful. My friendships have been wonderful, and even though I switched companies with a different MLM, I am gaining more friends, and I still have friends to this day that will tell you I taught them about cerebral palsy. I mean, I my aides who actually become my friends now say you taught me so much about cerebral palsy.
Wow. It sounds to me that you're such a positive, encouraging, motivating, and real person that really, friendship is something that happens to you, and you're so open to it. I imagine lots of people want to be your friend.
Oh yes, and lots of people want to work with me, and that's a good thing. But a bad thing when you're trying to do as much as I do with cerebral palsy.
Right, right.
So yeah, well, where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can find me. I like to hang out on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is your friend Noelle, and then there is a podcast show which is called Friending, and it's on all of the podcast platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Friending is there, so you can just check it out and listen to the show.
Yeah, well, you guys have got to go listen to Funding, and you guys have got to go listen to Nicole and Noelle, and you have got to keep supporting me and keep supporting MLM multi-level marketing, because it's a huge industry. And as I said, I'm with Limelight by Elcott, and so I'll put more information in the show notes, and then we can go from there, you guys. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
All right, thanks for having me on the show.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.